Welcome to our weekly podcast. This is Dr. Da Vinci, and today we're going to talk about your awakening. I believe you're ready by now. This is our third podcast to receive this information, to awaken spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally, to be transformed in your mind, in your spirit, and to receive the knowledge, the superhuman, supernatural knowledge, to be able to be ahead of the crowd, to make millions of dollars through currency trading, to be super fit physically, to be in tip-top shape emotionally and spiritually, to be on a perfect diet, on a regimen that I'm going to share with you. So we're going to talk about food, fitness, faith. I'm going to share with you how to go on a 7-day water-only diet, to have zero sugar, to be doing what we call, Dr. Wilson and I, we call this conscious eating and fasting, to eat primarily fermented food, kefir, kimchi, no processed food whatsoever, to eat lots of fiber, to eat lots of whole foods, to stop eating at night. You must stop eating at night. You must eat only one meal a day, primarily vegetarian food, no fish, especially farm fish. If you like salmon, it's garbage. It's toxic. We have documentation to share with you that anything other than salads, keep in mind, I used to eat meat all the time. But once you are informed, you cannot touch anything in America unless you know the farmer who raised the chicken. That's a different story. But who has that kind of a luxury? So unless you personally know the farmer who raised the meat, who raised the, preferably, we're still talking about wild-caught, but even the wild-caught salmon is contaminated with mercury and other heavy metals. So we're going to talk about resistance exercise, daily off-the-floor exercise to do sit-ups. Lots of organic olive oil. No heating it. Absolutely no heating. You must take vitamin K2. D3, omega-3, berberine, that improves the sugar level. It lowers your sugar levels. No antibiotics, which is present in today's meat and fish. No fruit of any kind unless you want to eat it as dessert. One apple literally per week. You don't need the sugar. You have to eliminate it, especially if you're type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. You have to eliminate all sugar. All sugar must be cut from your diet. Just water and salads primarily. Nothing else. Floor exercises with dumbbells, barbells. Get a pull-up bar. Lots of squats with kettlebells, with dumbbells, sit-ups. You have to get 7 or 8 or 9 hours of sleep every day. Organic meat only if you're a meat eater. You have to know the farmer though. Daily sunshine. You have to be out, get some vitamin D from the sun, the natural sun. Use ghee instead of butter or oil. That's where you could get a little bit higher with temperature. Go on a 7-day fast, water only. No milk, preferably. It's not a huge sin, but as far as if you were to be on an ideal diet, no milk, because it contains lots of antibiotics and hormones. Eat natural, non-processed food. That's the critical point. No seed oils. No ice cream. No sugar. No salt. Minimize your salt and pepper intake. And so let's begin. The most important message that I can share with you today, because I believe you're ready to receive this, is how to change your mind, starting with your spiritual assessment. If you're depressed, if you're overweight, if you're poor financially, if you're, not happy, the only reason for that is because your mind has been programmed by some dipshit programmers. Basically, you've listened to some idiots, morons, and we're here to reprogram your mind so you could have better reference point, better reference, meaning you could follow someone who is worthy of following. Example, I've lost 45 pounds and I wasn't that fat But after I went from 200 pounds to 160, now I can play tennis for 5 hours on tennis courts. I sway on my bike every single day. I'm active. I made my first $1 million at the age of 14 and a half. I was trading currencies. I'm going to share with you how I've done that so you could attempt to duplicate what I've done. Now, if you feel this is too complicated for you, you can actually take our online class. This is the whole purpose of this podcast, is to introduce you to what Dr. Wilson and I are doing. We're trying to perpetuate our knowledge into these perpetual evergreen podcasts and into our online courses so you could pay a minimal fee, take a course at your pace, and learn what you've never been taught by your family members or in school. You will learn how to trade currencies, how to eat healthy, how to be healthy, how to be productive, and most importantly, how to do supernatural things. You will have superhuman ability. So we're going to start with the logical things, how to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. How to have harmonious relationships with your family members and friends. That's number one priority. Then we're going to teach you how to walk on water, heal the sick, and cast out demons. All that will come later. But I've actually purchased a GoPro camera with a special GoPro belt that I attached to my head, to my forehead, so you could see everything that I was seeing. Wherever I turned my head, the camera would follow. And I recorded myself to share with you how to connect with Mother Nature by putting your left hand on a tree and then focusing and meditating with Mother Nature, preferably in a city park if you live in a city. And preferably away from people if that's even possible these days. Away from people. And then I will teach you how to get further down the line with the training to do other feats of superhuman achievement, such as creating mini hurricanes, 30-mile-an-hour winds, just at will, with your hand, with your right hand, while your left hand is on a tree. It's simply an indication that you're one with Mother Nature, with the trees, with nature. You understand? There's nothing supernatural about it if you know the methodology. The same with making money. There's nothing wondrous about it unless you know how it's done. And I'm going to share that with you, how I've made $1.2 million my first month, then 1.5, then $2 million, and so on and so forth. Today, Dr. Wilson and I, we run a family office, which is essentially a hedge fund that invests in high technology, such as hypersonic drones and miniature 10-centimeter particle accelerators for alternative energy generation. But we're going to share with you how you could start trading currencies. If that is too complicated for you, it's okay. We will allow you to become our affiliate. So all you have to do is take our class, learn how to do this sales and marketing, and then you can introduce our course, our online class, to other people that you know and that you don't know. So in other words, you'll be promoting our online business school to other young and not so young entrepreneurs wanting to learn these secrets, business secrets, life hacks, that's what they call today. So these life hacks would transform other people's lives. And you can earn a living, substantial living, just by introducing what you've learned from our class to other people. We'll teach you how to do all that. Really, it's not very complicated to trade currencies, but if that's too much for you, don't worry. I understand. Can you talk to other people? That's what you could be doing. You could be introducing, promoting our course, business class, to other young and not so young entrepreneurs around the world. Around the world, wherever you live. You're not limited to just being in America or in New Zealand or in Australia or in Austria or in Germany or wherever. We are global. We want to give this unique educational material to all inquisitive young men and women around the world so they can learn and earn a living immediately as soon as they take our course. So that's the good news. You'll be healthy, you'll be wealthy, and you'll be extremely happy. You will be fulfilled in life, which is called ikigai, which is a Japanese philosophy for being very, very happy with what you do. So in other words, it's not like in America, this is sort of a hungry competition if you are a street sweeper, which I know does not exist anymore as a profession in America. There's these machines who do that. But in the old days in Japan, if you were an artisan, let's say, if you baked bread, let's just use that example so that you could picture that. A man who baked bread in Japan or around the world should not be competing or wishing to become the CEO of the largest bakery on planet Earth. He should be happy indeed by becoming the best baker on his street, on his city block. And thus he would reach his fulfillment in life. In other words, he would be humble and meek to accept his lot and destiny just to be happy with what he could do with his hands. You understand? I am very, very happy to share this information with you. We have invested something like $50,000 at our office in New York City into this equipment here. We have like 10 different video cameras, all kinds of 20 different microphones, the latest technology. But the point behind all this is Dr. Wilson and I will be sharing with you knowledge. And we're extremely happy to share this knowledge. This is why I came into this world, to receive knowledge, to learn the knowledge that I've learned so far, and then pass it along to other people. This is what life is all about. There's nothing more fulfilling for me than to share with you this knowledge. That is my lot, my destiny in life. This is why I'm recording this. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to give you everything the way it is. In the most honest, direct way I know how to present this material, because it saves time. There is no point for me to sugarcoat this as your parents do. And so I'm going to tell you things that your parents would never, ever dare to share with you. Example, your name. I'm going to share with you something that your parents don't even know. By the way, I've studied women. I always like to use this example when it comes to relationships, how I proposed to my wife. We've known each other since college. And so she called me one day, a few hundred different times. I was eating dinner. I decided to call her back after I finished my dinner, because it doesn't happen very often when a woman calls you so many different times. And as it turned out, she told me, she didn't say that, but I could sift through that information, that she was in a kind of a not a very happy relationship. And so she wanted it out. And because she wanted it out, I decided to invite her to a city park for a conversation the following day. And I proposed to her, and I presented my family heirloom ring that was passed on to my mother from her grandmother. And I told her I was already all set up. And my point here of telling you this story, the practicality of this, is that today so many young men and not so young men, they get down on their knee and they look so silly and foolish when they do that. That sort of a chivalry is not the point of that act, is not to get down on your knee. Is to tell the woman that she's going to be economically protected and secure, because she wants to give birth in a safe environment to your first baby, and second and third, hopefully. She wants to be secure. She doesn't care about your getting down on your knee. In fact, many women cringe when men do that. It's a different century, number one. They don't even know what they're doing, number two. And thirdly, it's really a lost art. So what I told my wife, I already was established. I had everything economically I was all set with transportation, a place to live. I said, let's get married tomorrow and you're going to move in with me. So she agreed. We got married the following day. We eloped, so we even killed multiple birds with one stone. We saved my father-in-law tens of thousands of dollars because we didn't have a formal wedding. So that's how you do it. You have to be practical, because women are also very practical. They're looking for practicality in men, but unfortunately many men don't know how to structure the marriage deal. Not getting down on your knee, but proposing, giving you the facts. You're going to move in with me. You're going to be safe. Deal? She says yes. Done deal. It's a business transaction. That's why many, many years ago, this is how marriages were drawn up. It was a contract. Men were usually older, and women were significantly younger, because a man had to have a place to live where the baby would come into this world. So anyway, Miriam, the mother of Jesus, was 14 years of age when she gave birth to Jesus. Many women at that time were 14 or 13, very young. My mother was 16 when she gave birth to my older brother, or 17, maybe something like that. It was already kind of, past 18, it was too late to give birth. It was like, in those days. Today, women are out of control. They're 28. They think they have, they could be 45 and give birth, which is total nonsense. Where's your brain, people? Miriam was 14, and you're 28, you play Barbie dolls? Are you kidding me? No, this is not serious business, man. Who was raising you? I mean, seriously. So anyway, going back to the message of consistent evolution. My purpose of recording this message is to help you awaken so you can hear the message of truth, how to be healthy, how to make money in today's AI-compatible environment, because very soon the AI will take over hundreds and hundreds of millions of jobs around the world. Warehouse workers, customer service reps around the world, taxi drivers, truck drivers, long-haul truck drivers will lose their jobs. Since 2019, Anno Domini, self-driving cars, taxis, and trucks were already on the roads of California. So very, very soon, they're going to be replacing ordinary trucks and truck drivers mostly, and cab drivers. So you have to be prepared. This is the purpose of this message, is to prepare you for this reality that's coming. You have no idea how much will change in the next couple of years. So at least be prepared. At least you would know about these changes before they happen. We're going to also talk about geopolitics, because that's important. There are so many wars around the world at this time. And we're going to discuss the reasons for them very briefly. In other podcasts, we're going to delve into them with a little more details. For example, a year before the war broke out in Ukraine, exactly a year, I have shared publicly with our business associates to get out from Ukraine and to remove all their investment and to cut all their investment ties and traveling schedules from Ukraine. And exactly 362 days later, the invasion of Ukraine happened, also known as Special Military Operation. So it depends whom you listen. After World War II, all American wars were also called Special Military Operation, like in Iraq, where 3 million Iraqis were killed or displaced for the sake of pumping oil for a fake reason that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. He never did. General Powell, he knew that that white powder that he was demonstrated at the United Nations was laundry detergent from Walmart, and they presented it as weapons of mass destruction. It was all a hoax, fraud. So they killed 3 million Iraqis for the sake of making $1.5 trillion. To steal the oil, steal the natural resources, and priceless art. That's the first thing they stole, the military did, in those military crates. The unit who stole it, they know about it. They moved them to New York City and London. It's a mafia operation. They used those soldiers, when they came back, they realized they were used like cheap whores, basically. Like, mall security guards. Even though they're wearing uniforms, but they realized they were guarding private tankers who were moving millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of oil and art. Priceless art, and about $100 million per tanker of oil. There's nothing to do with Saddam Hussein, who just had a rusty rifle or something like that. It's really a scam. The whole thing is a scam. Wars are essentially instigated by the American military, industrial military complex participants, such as weapons manufacturers who employ lobbyists or military consultants who are called beltway bandits around Washington, D.C., because I-495 resembles a belt, a loop. This is where all those consultants live. They don't live downtown. They live in Maryland, Virginia, in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. So they're hired, they paid millions of dollars to create war opportunities so that those weapons manufacturers could make millions of dollars on both ends. So there's also very famous, you can Google all that, private equity groups. So these private equity firms finance the technology, the military gear, and people who invest with those private equity firms, they get 25-50% returns for killing some people far away from America. So you need people to be dying for the rockets to be missiles to be flying for these people in America to be making money. That's the hypocrisy of how this business of war is essentially conducted. If you stand in the way, you might say, well, why don't we have peace in the world? Because it's such a big industry. Nobody really has the power to stop it. There was one man who tried to get in the way and stop this. He got killed in Dallas, Texas in 1963. He was warned and warned repeatedly not to get in the way of this machine, the American military, industrial military complex. And he said, I'm the president, I got Secret Service. And they said, okay, Mr. President, have a nice trip to Dallas. And he never returned. So they hired 4 shooters